What is up, guys? PoliticsGaming here, and today we're doing a new series as the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. Unfortunately, this is going to be the second time I've had to record this because I recorded for about an hour and a half and I had a lot of content. I'll kind of go through exactly what I am missing in the context of this episode here as I move along with this episode. I did a lot of subsidies all around the economy. With tea, with a lot of food. We're dealing with a rather concerning situation whenever it comes to the undernourished population. So actually, if you can see, went like a little bit down from 11.5%, then it kind of skyrocketed back up to 11.5. I'm going to do what I said I was going to do in the last episode. We're going to go ahead and finance some imports of cereals coming in from India. So we're actually pretty good on production here, but I want to go ahead and get some just food in general coming into the country. Let's go ahead and just offer $11.32 dollars per ton here and see what the Indians say to that. Big thing about this series, there's a lot of stuff that I really want to discuss, and I'll kind of break it up. I had a lot of discussion about my plans for this series in the last recording, but I had some computer issues, and I guess the file got corrupted, and tried to make sure that it worked before I had to re-record this again, but I'm just complaining. But basically, long and short of it is that I will be moving away from a Chinese-influenced Vietnam. I will be moving closer toward the West, such as Japan and the United States. A long-term plan, or probably even short-term plan if I can get it done, depending on how quickly I can get it done. A free trade agreement with the United States is something I want to do. A global economic treaty is the biggest one. I may actually go ahead and offer it to the United States and see if it's approved. Let's go ahead and go to the US, go to reciprocal. We're going to send it over to the US and hopefully they will sign it. If not, then we just have to continue to build relations up with the US and then kind of go from there. In a previous recording, what I also had is that I did pass a immigration reform. I can actually go back to Parliament and show you some of the laws that I've been passing. So we did do some value-added tax changes. We had 2 budget reforms that we had passed. We also had a Nationality and Immigration Act that passed, which we did change the Just Soli rules to allow people to be born, or at least come to Vietnam. We're also somewhat encouraging immigration coming in from Indonesia, as we do have a situation whenever it comes to people leaving the country due to the hunger crisis. In order to kind of subside that and get people to come in and help the economy grow, we do have a lot of Indonesian immigration that is coming in, so we're going to take advantage of that. And basically, we went over to immigration, we went to legislation, we went to issuance of visas. And if we go over to Indonesia, I actually gave them no visas, so this will actually encourage more illegal immigration to come into the country, and then that way we can kind of absorb that into our population. If you go over to, we do have a prison occupancy crisis that we are facing as well, so we do have the idea to, or the plan to build some more prisons once we do have the money to do so. One of the things that we want to do is that we want to modernize our health situation. Our life expectancy is pretty good at 76 years, but our child mortality rate is pretty high, so we want to start to increase our funding toward our health budget guidelines. AIDS population is actually on its way up, so I will actually give some more funding over to the fight against AIDS until the cure is made. Overdose per 100,000 is 95.4, which is down from 104. I would say that's actually pretty high, but I'm gonna have to take a look. What do we have? So more people are dying. So 18% die of strokes, 15% from heart disease, 16% from other types of cancer. Stroke, what can we do to fight strokes? Alcohol, tobacco, and activity rich in insufficient quality of public health. So that is already, we are focusing on that. But suicide, 1.5%. What about neurological disease, diabetes? We could definitely start increasing our taxes on alcohol and tobacco. Those are pretty big ones, especially with strokes and heart disease. So we're going to go ahead and also have a health policy in the tax realm. And we're going to go to, let's find it. So we're going to have to do the liquor tax. Oh my God, $12 per liter. That's pretty bad. 294. So whenever it comes to increasing your taxes, biggest thing that you want to note is that it's not always going to be about raising money. It's also about kind of persuading public opinion. So in this case, people are less likely to consume alcohol because, I mean, my God, who the hell is going to pay $15 per liter? So I'm going to go ahead and see. So it looks like the Politburo actually likes that. So I'm going to pass that, that measure. Let's also go to tobacco tax, and we're going to increase our tobacco tax here. Let's see what the people think of that. People actually like it, and the Politburo does like it as well. Go ahead and click this link right here on the top right in order to see the live stream, which kind of serves as a first episode to this. This is the first like formal episode for the Vietnam series, but I did have a live stream before this, which I did play for about 3 hours, which kind of did a lot of setup, everything like that. I played about from 2026, beginning of 2026 into 2027. In a previous recording, I played about 6 months. So in this episode, I will say that I'm probably going to go another 3 to 6 months. I would say maybe to the end of the year is probably going to be the goal for this episode. Lots of time skips, so you probably may see just me, initiating policies and kind of seeing the month-to-month changes. And then if any big things happen, I'm going to go ahead and come back and kind of go from there. So that's usually how the format works in these types of series. What kind of policies would you guys actually want to see in this series? What I'm actually considering is here, so we do see determine the legality of the state with regard to political parties. I do have a one-party state, so politically it's going to be pretty stable. I think in this series, this is going to be the first time I've ever played as a dictatorship, so pretty interesting to see. I'm actually going to go into a little bit of a tangent about what our economic plans are for this series. I'm actually pretty excited because it's a pretty interesting competition we're looking at. We do have a contract and negotiation coming in from India. I'm going to go ahead and accept the 13.79 price here, $1 billion. Custom duties, not too much, $43 million in custom duties. For cereals, but let's go ahead and accept that and then hope to God that really helps out our malnutrition rate. And it looks like the free trade agreement with the United States was refused. This is definitely due to our poor economic relations with the United States. We need to start signing some contracts with the US in order to get our economic relations higher. So let me go ahead and see what options we have available to us. Bilateral foreign exchange students. Let me see if they'll at least approve it. They did not, but I mean, we already did a year of culture with the United States. What else could we do other than, immigration agreement? So we could do an emigration agreement. Importation of workers for undermanned sectors. Encourage Vietnamese workers to come and work in the U.S. in certain economic sectors, especially construction. Let's go ahead and offer them something here, $300 million, and then maybe, just maybe, increase that over time. So FTA was refused. I also did send one over to India. It looks like that economic contract that we signed was apparently really bad in terms of the Minister of the Economy's assessment of it. That trade agreement actually did benefit our relations with India, so I did send them over a free trade agreement. Hopefully they will give us approval there, but the United States is keen on allowing this emigration agreement to go through. $182 million is how much they're willing to pay us here. Let me go ahead and see if I can negotiate that up to $200 million. and then maybe finesse them out of a little bit more money. And so with this, the immigration agreement with the United States was accepted, and this agreement is beneficial for both our countries. We'll do what is necessary to implement this as quickly as possible, and the Ministry of the Interior's budget will be reset to the amount necessary to successfully carry out this work. So good to see. $200 million is how much we are getting from the US. Hopefully that continues to increase our relations. Contract accepted. Global Economic Treaty with India just went through, so that is really going to benefit our growth rates. Let's see how much that was worth here. So free trade, $296 billion worth with that contract. I think we should also have one with Laos, I think. Yeah, $1 billion. $163 billion with Russia is who else. So we have a FTA with. So we have India, Russia, and yeah, in this series, usually, if you've watched my content before, I don't really associate with Russia. But in this case, I will be associating more with Russia, especially in terms of like military and economic cooperation. We do have really good relations with them, so I don't want to pass them up as a partner. You know anything about me, you can always see that I've been pretty pro-Ukraine in terms of the war, but I can usually separate myself depending on who I'm playing as, and so if I see a partner, I will definitely say that Russia will be a partner of mine. Don't take it the wrong way if you guys are pro-Ukraine. It's just the game. It's just the game. Don't get mad. Country at risk.
Your country's
saying that my solvency rating is apparently getting worse. Economic competition, what I'm actually thinking about in this series, short term, our competition is definitely going to be against Thailand. Thailand wouldn't necessarily be like a military rival against us, but they're more so a tourist and economic rival. So Thailand does have a better education system, they have a better tourist system, and they have a better economy than us. We are lagging behind them by about $40 billion whenever it comes to GDP, but they definitely outpace us whenever it comes to tourism. In the last recording that I made for this episode, I actually went through and opened up a lot of my visa programs. In this one, I'm not going to do that again, mostly because I'm just trying to get this episode out. But as you can see, some of these are visa tightly controlled with a quota. Others are just long-term visa required for long-term stay. I still have to go through and individually click through, making sure all of these are eligible to, so people don't have to go jump through hoops trying to come to Vietnam. This should really help out our tourism sector. Immigration rate is just barely inching its way up, and I'm trying to figure out a way to do that. More so, I think this is going to be in terms of our cost of living, so like just how safe it is to be in the country, how economically viable it is to be in the country. I mean, we're going to be pretty attractive to foreign companies moving to Vietnam. I mean, we're going to be very attractive to them, but in terms of actually coming to Vietnam and living in Vietnam, especially if you're from Laos, from China, I mean, you're more likely to want to just stay in China than come over to Vietnam. But that's also why we are opening up our lanes to places like Indonesia. A lot of people are surging into Vietnam from Indonesia, and we're going to take advantage of that immigration situation entirely. So like if we go over here, exceptional no, not the deportation operation, but the regularization, we have 28,000 people that we can actually regularize. So we want to get that up to at least several hundred thousand every so often. So we just need to encourage more immigration into Vietnam. Possibly also we could sign a immigration agreement, get people to come and work in Vietnam. So we'll kind of cross that bridge whenever we get to it. But other than that, let me go ahead and just skip forward a little bit, and I'll see you guys whenever I come back. Alright, and we are back. We do have a message right here from a singer in Vietnam. Government associations are criticized for the lack of efficiency With the dissolution of a large part of the country's associations and a placement under guardianship of the few remaining, our country no longer has a means to help the people in need. Rare associations that remain under strict control of the government have no real means to help the needy ones. Rectify this, Mr. President, in the name of solidarity. He's going to jail. But tourism, I think we're also going to do something here. I do have one festival that I did create. It's a independent film festival being placed in, or being held in Ho Chi Minh City. I'm going to do another international festival. This one is actually going to be placed in, let's do this in Hanoi. Let's do this at $350 million, and this is going to be I'm thinking an international exhibition or we already did a film festival, so I'm not, yeah, let's do an international exhibition. So for this one, I'm going to do this on January 10th. I guess it won't be held until 2029, which that kind of sucks. So yeah, 2029 will be the first one, January 10th, 2029, for an international exhibition in Hanoi for $350 million. I think by the time we get there, I'm probably going to increase that subsidy to about $1 billion. So Hanoi International Exhibition, and that is a half-star notoriety there. And also looks like that we have a meeting with the president of Laos. He wants to trade heating, so he wants to give me some heating. But then he's doing the same thing where he always wants to offer like most of his supply, so it like eats into his own national consumption. And then all of a sudden he's having trouble making the shipments over to me. So we're gonna go ahead and refuse that. Sure. I'm gonna offer him a coffee, some champagne. Renegotiate a military alliance, and we do have authorization to build at least one military base in Laos. I'm also going to ask for a beletting authorization, so that way we can utilize the current military bases he already has. And that way, instead of just building one, we can just place troops within Laos. So they will be basically not really a puppet of ours, but they will be a very close ally. And in case of any Thai invasion of Laos, I mean, that could be something that we could have a little fun with. Wild Strike and Bien Hoa, 3.94. So our growth provision is actually going down, which is...
Here is our growth for...
Not the best news, but so long as it's remained stable, then I'm okay with that. Dropped to 6% from unemployment, so unemployment is finally on its way down, mostly because we're probably hiring all of those doctors that we need. Stagnation in the number of accidents, 8,000, Jesus Christ, 8,386 people have died due to car accidents. Let's go to the media maintain our independence. Economic attractiveness, 122. I did increase the wealth tax, mostly because the Politburo, is not really on my side yet. I don't really have a green smiley face. I was running a little bit of a deficit with them. So I had to increase the wealth tax, which goes counter to economic attractiveness. But I'm hoping what I can do is that I can increase the wealth tax, and this can go negative, but then so long as I continue to beat back the regulation of the layoffs, so this is negative 3.3%, or 3.3, it's not probably not even a percent, it's just 3.3. It's a value meter is what it is. So this, so long as I can get this continue going down, or technically going up, and then getting the wealth tax down, that'll kind of like cancel out any loss in the rating. And then which one's really, really holding me back? I feel like it's infrastructures could be holding me back. Aids for research, annual work hours. I mean, I feel like they already work a lot of hours. I think probably around 40 hours. Probably I could go for 40 to 45 hours, but I'm not too sure about that. Economic alignment. Oh yeah, that's actually holding us back too. Economic alignment with foreign countries. We really need to start expanding our... Oh yeah, if we can really start to get into the European market and improving relations with Europe, that could really help us out, but that's going to be a very tedious task. I would mostly focus on like Britain, Germany, Poland, and Spain, Maybe even Ukraine once... Oh, actually, the war is over. What did they lose? Hang on. Ukraine... They didn't lose anything. And Zelensky's still in power, interesting enough. Yeah, we will have to start improving relations with Europe, and then once we get that, then that metric can boost our economic attractiveness, because that means that more countries are more interested in us. So that's going to be a very tedious task for me to do, but what I'm also going to do is that I'm going to go to subsidize for tourism, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to almost max this out at $2.15 billion. So we're going to give it a much larger subsidy here. We really need to be focusing on getting our economic growth up due to tourism. Goal here is going to be 20 million international tourists a year. Countries ranked by number of international tourists, I would say we need to get this down to about the top 10. And then number of domestic visitors, 23 million, down from 100 million actually. We are making less money from tourism, so we're actually losing about $400 million here for some reason. I'm not too sure why. Maybe because of the famine? I'm not too sure. Accommodations, transportation, highway safety, public safety, human rights. Human rights I can kind of hold off on. I don't really have to worry about that right now, but accommodations, leisure attractions, public safety and highway safety. Public safety and highway safety, I can actually start to tackle that right now. Geographic wealth, I think a couple more. Let's go to budget. Let's go to average size national parks. Let's do this. Max them out. I'm going to build like 5 national parks. Alright, and then so what I did is that I built about 5 national parks outside of some major cities. So Da Nang, Hongai has a national park outside of it. I did build one right outside of Ho Chi Minh City called the Ho Chi Minh National Park. I also did build one just to the north of Rosh Kia, which is called the Rosh National Park. I'm probably skewering the pronunciation of those names, so just correct me. And any Vietnamese people in the comments, please correct me, since I am skewering these names. But other than that, I'm wanting to go ahead and just continue to promote tourism. Let's say... what region is Hanoi in? It's gonna be in Song Hung. So give me just a second. International Song Hung. That is a $2 billion investment if we didn't want to fully fund that. We could do it for $426 million. We have a 1.58% deficit. No, we're gonna hold off for that for right now. But memorial site? Yeah, we could build some memorial sites. And let's distribute this all over the territory. 4,500 people will be invested into that. $128 million. And Grand Library, $638 million for $3.1 billion if we wanted to fully fund it. Okay. And so we are number 31 in the world in terms of tourism ranking. We are maxing out our funding in the tourism and hotel trade, but actually it looks like we're completely nationalized here. Total workforce, companies. I think we could just completely privatize the whole sector. $4.8 billion and just let it grow. I mean, I don't really see the need for us to completely manage it, especially if we're not... I think if we really wanted to, like at some point, once they start to grow, we could partially nationalize it. I'm going to go ahead and, we're going to go ahead and sell off our entire stake into the tourism industry and just let the entire thing grow. We have a very, very pro-tourism stance that we want to have in this government. $5 billion will be netted from this windfall, so let's go ahead and just privatize everything. Hand that over to the private sector, and then we'll just watch as that begins our huge investment into tourism. Strategic pact with Laos. Host bases are now operational, and we can place troops into Muang and as well as Champasak. Hong Kong kind of looks a little weird from space, but what I'm also going to go ahead and do, we're going to get this started in this episode. I wanted to do it in the last video, but I kind of wanted to hold off until episode 2, but I guess we're going to do that now. We will go ahead and go to transportation. We're going to go to port, and we're going to go, so $1 billion is how much this port would cost. How much would that be in terms of, I mean, could we do maybe something less? An oil tanker port would be less money, $2.75 billion, but a full port would be $4.6 billion over the next 5 years. 3,000 people, $1.1 billion being invested into this, and $5 billion over the next 5 years. I'm gonna go ahead and trust in this, and we're gonna go ahead and build a port outside of Haiphong. Haiphong is going to be our main port city outside of Hanoi. Could we build this? Do we want to build this in a harbor? Right here? Right here? Right? Oh, yeah. No. Oh. Maybe right there. Yeah, just a little bit to the south. See what that does. Deficit is not affected that much. Okay. We will call this the Haiphong Hanoi we're gonna call it the port of Haiphong Hanoi. We're gonna go ahead and send that through, and that port will be done in 486 days, so probably a couple episodes from now we will definitely have that done. A major port in Binh Song Hung region begins. As for the massive construction is open, and we can finally draw some conclusions. As for the transport of goods, this will significantly improve the situation, and it will help us streamline business. Let's also go ahead and consider an airport. An airport would be very, very lucrative in order to get goods flowing out of Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. So we would definitely want at least 2 airports for the north and for the south. Intense traffic airport, $851 million with a 3.7, nearly $4 billion investment over the next 5 years. Let's consider this airport. A lot of room being taken up by all of these hotels, unfortunately. Could we want to build this maybe outside of Hanoi? Maybe do we want to build this maybe toward the south? First international airport toward the south. A lot more room here. Let's go ahead and I want it to be in the same region as Ho Chi Minh City. Ben Hoa. Yeah, I think we could build it just to the north of Ben Hoa. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 2 major construction projects underway. Let's call this the Ho Chi Minh International Airport. Very original name. Predicted high traffic of 50 million passengers a year. 420 days to completion, and then we will also consider another international airport outside of Hanoi, I would say within the next year, and then so that way they're pretty much operational within a year of each other. We do have the Minister for Transport coming back and giving us the assessment on this. As for the transport of goods, we will undoubtedly see a small improvement, but nothing major since our current resources are satisfactory. Whatever. I mean, like, I really would like to see a better conclusion than that. But yeah, so definitely, I think an oil tanker port outside of Da Nang would also help. Oil tanker ports actually are pretty useful, both if you're an importer or an exporter. Basically, we'll just focus on getting cheaper goods, and then I guess you're not paying as much in transportation costs if you own an oil tanker port. So that is going to be another thing that we will be focusing on in Vietnam, is a oil tanker port within the next 1 or 2 episodes. Transportation, like I said, is going to be a huge thing that we want to focus on here. We'll also go ahead and ask Laos if they would like for us to build a highway to them. I would like to maybe get a highway going from Hanoi over into, I'm not even going to try to say the name of their capital, but I would say maybe a Hanoi highway over to Hoa Shuai, or at least over into Vientiane. I'm gonna have to really do my research on the Southeast Asian region. That way I know how to say these names. But like I said, let's go over to finance. Really would like to see what the improvements are whenever I have the port and the airport complete themselves. See what that does to infrastructures and networks. As with the United States, they do have a positive 8 score whenever it comes to transportation. So really would like to develop the transportation sector of Vietnam very soon. Secondary highways, we have 7 total miles in all of Vietnam. So let's go ahead and increase that tenfold by 500 miles. So $367 million being invested into this, 1.5 billion over the next 5 years. And remaining cost, so it looks like, do we have any like available funds here? No. Okay, let's go ahead and complete that. And 0.81% deficits. Oil tanker port, $638 million. It really wouldn't be that much out of the coffers. So let's go ahead and build this just to the north, just to the south of Da Nang. So let's call this Port of Da Nang. So this will specifically be a oil tanker port, and then that will be able to help us focus on oil and natural gas imports and exports. The massive construction site for the port center is open, and we can already draw some conclusions. As for the transport of goods, this will significantly improve the situation and will help us streamline business. Lastly, even if it makes the governor or the president of the region happy, the location of the establishment could be better. I'm putting it outside of the city of Da Nang. I mean, I'll probably make another port just to the north, maybe in the city of Hue. But I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Highway will be connected soon from Hanoi all the way over to Hue, or I could just bypass them entirely and then just do like a straight Ho Chi Minh City Hanoi highway. I think I would save that for maybe like a Hyperloop or a high-speed rail train. Or at least it would be Hanoi to Hue to Da Nang, and then Da Nang would connect over to Nha Trang, over to Dalat, and then Dalat would connect directly to Ho Chi Minh City. Actually, that's too mountainous, so I would say Buon Mi Thuot could be another way to do that. So I would say like Hanoi to Hue to Da Nang, and then Da Nang to Mi Thuot, all the way over to Ho Chi Minh City directly. So that's going to be like the transportation plan I'm thinking about, but we will kind of refine that as we go. I think we're pretty set on this episode here. Kind of not really repeated the same things I did in the Lost episode of the Vietnam series. I'm already 1 episode in and I already have a Lost episode. But not really repeated a lot of things, but I more so expanded on it. As we go on, I will kind of start to increase my competition with Thailand. Thailand, like I said, Thailand is actually having a recession right now, so they have a positive 2.07 growth rate, but their GDP is shrinking from 599 billion. I think they were a positive $600 billion at some point whenever this gameplay started. But for some reason, they're shrinking in terms of GDP right now. So, very concerning situation in Thailand, but this is going to benefit us because we are competing against them. So hopefully we don't fall into a recession either. Our growth rate is at a positive 3.72%. So what we need to do is that we need to start promoting exports. So in this case, what we have to do now, I'm going to go ahead and cut the interest rate by about 2%. We're going to cut it to about 3.0%. It's gonna give us about $55 million into the national economy. Inflation is kind of like was on its way up, which is why I increased it. It looks like that did work, so it is on its way down. I'm gonna go ahead and decrease the interest rate, just that way we can start promoting exports in the economy. We're gonna try to keep interest rates as low as humanly possible, unless we start to see a rather concerning inflationary situation. Laos agrees to potential partnership in the construction of high-speed rail lines, so that's good. I want to start promoting some infrastructure between our neighbors. Earth overshoot day and interest rate decrease. According to your orders, the central bank has just lowered its interest rate. This is a measure that will encourage consumption. People and businesses will borrow more, favoring at the same time the increase of the GDP, not to mention a reduction of unemployment. The other side of this story is that if demand increases, prices might follow to rise over time. In other words, Mr. President, there is a certain inflationary risk. So that is going to be the risk in increasing or decreasing our interest rates, that it allows people to borrow more. And over time, we could see an increase in prices, which actually, because of the food situation, we're kind of focusing on exports, but I think if we start to run into the same situation with food, I think increasing our interest rates could actually help. But look, undernourished population is at 9.07%, so we should be okay. I'm really hoping the food situation is getting better. We are exonerating some sectors. Aquaculture is starting to look better from what it was before. Fishing is still down. We are down about almost $3 billion in the entire sector as a whole in terms of profits. So I did hand off an exoneration. Actually, I didn't. That was to the aquaculture sector. We're considering an exoneration to the fishing sector, just that way they're able to support themselves. Let me take a look at the diadem eating sector. Market value, $481 million. Net results is 15%. What I actually don't want to see is that I don't want to see what happened here with the Pioneer Agriculture Company. What happened here, for some reason, is that the share price just totally collapsed. $1.60 per share. Net results is 995% negative. They are worth $1,000. And consolidated revenue, $18 million. 6,400 people are about to lose their jobs because of this. I don't know exactly what happened with this company, but they are absolutely gone, done for. They are bankrupt. And you can actually see how much this affected our cereal sector. They had a pretty good grasp on the sector as a whole. So our trade balance is gone. Our sales are just plummeted. We had $9 billion coming in from this sector, and now they're only making $336 million. We were making $169 million in profits in this sector, and we are now losing $9.5 billion with this sector here. So very, very sad to see just the total collapse of this company. How that may affect the country as a whole, we don't know. But we did start the process of imposing a lower price on the sector. Because of the food crisis that we are facing, we had to go over to a couple of sectors, namely the cereal sector and the rice sector. We did impose lower prices on the entire sector as a whole. We did have to pay these companies in order to offset their losses with this. So we had the price including tax was $43.06. We did impose a price of $22.38, so the price taxation cost to us as the state is $114 million. This sector, by the way, employs 2 million people, so this sector is just for some reason, having so much trouble, and it is very much risking a both food and economic disaster in the potential future. But other than that, guys, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you guys want to see more content like this, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss anything whenever I do make it to the channel. I went ahead and just made, right, like I said several times during this recording, I had to remake this episode. So I actually am pretty satisfied with this. I was kind of a little weary about the last one that I made, but I feel a little bit more confident in how this one was made. And it's at least a little bit more straightforward on how this episode played out today. So I'm excited to see where this series can go. There's a lot of development opportunity. We're already developing some major economic projects like the port of Haiphong and the airport of Ho Chi Minh City, and as well multiple national parks in an overall focus and concentration on improving and getting tourism back into Vietnam and competing against Thailand's dominant force in the tourism industry. Do you guys think we're going to be able to outpace Thailand? That might be easier than we thought it was before, but we'll see. Guys, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you guys want to see more content like this, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss anything whenever I do make it to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching this with me, and take care.